Yo, homies, as always, man, thank you guys so much for clicking on the video. Hope that you guys are having a dope day. Listen, I just want to let you guys know, failing at something is not a problem. The only issue is when you mentally give up. Never mentally give up. Always keep trying till you succeed. And if you don't succeed, at least you gave it your all. Okay, homies, so today's video is going to be a little bit differente. You know, differente came from a Swedish word that means different. Stop making up words. It sounds good. Listen, here's the thing, guys. As always, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section on what you guys think throughout the video. Now, when I had the meeting with Rebecca, I'm telling you guys, the meeting went a lot differently in my freaking head. I just did not expect it to go the way it did. Now, one thing with me is that you guys know I'm always critiquing Warframe. Always. It's what I do. I like to look at Warframe from a neutral point. I don't like to say everything's good or everything's bad. The game has great points and the game has bad points. That's just one thing with me. And the bad points, I want to negate those as much as possible by bringing those troubles, I would say, to the forefront so we can get those things addressed. That's one way how to make a game better. Now, in this meeting with Rebecca, I had to ask, guys. I couldn't help it. So I wanted to know, since I'm always critiquing their, their game, I was like, Rebecca, how do you guys feel? Like, tell me straight. Tell it to me straight. How do you guys feel about me critiquing your game? Like, how do you guys feel about my videos? And Rebecca was like, well, we watch your videos in the office all the time. I said, you ain't got to lie, Rebecca. You ain't gotta lie. I can take it. Tell it to me straight. She was like, yeah, we watch your videos all the time. I don't feel like you come from a negative point. I feel like you give valid statements about the game. And I feel like you actually really care about the game. So the points that you make is actually really interesting the way how we look at it. And I was like, oh my God, you understand me so well. She was like, listen, if I felt like your videos were coming from a really negative place, I would not have this meeting, because you don't want to speak with someone who is just overly negative about something. You criticize the game in a way to where we can actually learn to where the problem is coming from. And I was like, at this moment in my head, every single person who was complaining in the comment section, talking about some stop complaining, the game is fine, I started slapping every single person in my mind. Now, one thing about Rebecca is that Rebecca knows that I'm always laughing and trolling and having a good time, so I had to get down to business and ask her about the important topics. Now, the thing for me is the first thing I asked her was about arbitrations. How do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's in a good place? Do you feel like the rewards are good? And currently right now, from how I feel, because she's seen my arbitrations review, is that I feel like the rewards are lackluster. I don't feel like the scaling is good enough at all. It's actually set back for newer players. And I feel like the drones are not designed in a way of difficulty, but more so on the annoying side. And she completely agreed. She felt like arbitration should be taken a look at again, and she felt like it shouldn't have been left the way it was. The problem for her was arbitrations was actually pulled off because of Fortuna and Fortuna 2.0, because they were supposed to take more looks at it. So what she's saying is that after Christmas, after they come back from the holidays, is that, arbitrations will be on the top of the agenda to be taken a look at again, because I feel like it should be, because that's one of your top end game, quote unquote, places for players to go. Now, the next important thing that I did ask her about was the rewards. I told her that the rewards for what you receive in this game based on the amount of grind that you actually do does not benefit you as a player, because you don't have to grind that hard for just little itty bitty rewards like that. And I feel like they should definitely change up the reward pool on a lot of different things, especially in arbitrations. Every single different game mode that you go to, it becomes really tedious with rewards, and you just feel like you're not benefited from grinding so hard for getting these rewards. And she completely agreed. She gave me a link of what they're trying to do with a community feedback for the rewards. And her main issue for me was she felt like, how do we keep benefiting players going 6 years into a video game with rewards to actually keep them intrigued? And one thing I want to hear from you guys in the comment section is, what rewards are you guys looking for? You see what I'm saying? So she asked, and I told her, I said, well, you guys aren't planning to make immortal skins anymore. Why not have exclusive immortal skins for reaching certain points in defenses, survivals, going up against like different bosses, different drops? The other thing that I told her, I was like, weapon skins, like how you guys have in PvP. It just doesn't have to stay in PvP. Custom things like that. Syndanas, different sigils on your Warframe. Those are a lot of things that players are looking for. Those are things that people feel like they should get. different rewards. I also told her that I feel like they don't cater enough to solo players. I know there's a lot of people out there with internet issues that can't play in teams, so they go solo. I feel like solo players aren't credited enough in this game because they get overlooked. I feel like the solo experience should be changed up a bit. She agreed on that as well. I also told her when it comes to rewards, it can't just feel tedious like we're just getting a tiny little bit of a reward when after we didn't put in all of this grind. So her main issue, like I said, is how to help the players that's been here almost 6 years in, how to keep them intrigued and keep the rewards good enough and keep the rewards fresh. And I feel like that's a good enough question because everybody wants something different, but overall there can be rewards that will be all across the board good enough for everybody as long as you put them in. But I did tell her sigils, weapon skins, sandanas, it's a lot of different things you can add in with the immortal skins. It's a lot of different beneficial things you can give to your players. Also milestones, give it to your players for who has hit their first 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45, your first hour, and so on. Have it to where when you look at your profile, you get different icons up there, different things to show that you made it this far. And she felt like those were just good ideas that you can actually implement. Special weapon skins for certain weapons. I told her that you can have special events of different things that's going on how to credit those players. I feel like the events that they ran back in the day were some of their greatest things. I did tell her that. She felt like, we do have to bring back events a lot more now because you're completely right. I told her, I said, I like that you guys do PoE and Fortuna, those big events, but in between it takes away from your core audience that know you for doing events on the regular, every other month, every monthly events, different things that's going on. I told her that for PoE, I said PoE will always fail. And I'm completely blunt with Rebecca. I said PoE will always fail. And she said, why? I said, the reason why is because you guys entered the realm of Dragon's Quest, Final Fantasy, different games like that deals with bounty boards. If you do not update your bounty boards, that thing will never succeed. And she completely agreed that the bounty boards and everything else need to be always focused. And I told her, it doesn't matter how much things you guys put on the plane because the bounty board is always there. It stays the same. I said the bounty board system, you cannot treat it like Barrow because if you do, Barrow gets a pass for certain things, but PoE is dry all the time. You know what I'm saying? You got to switch it up with the different missions. And speaking of PoE bounty boards, I also said to her, I said, Rebecca, now I know you guys have difficulty locked into PoE. You can change your difficulty settings by choosing different bounties and then the door opens up and it's forever locked on that difficulty. I said, since you guys have that, why not think about bringing survivals, defenses, excavations to broaden the horizon for PoE, Fortuna, and your open world maps? A lot of players would love those things. I was like, do you know how beautiful that would look on a wild open landscape like that with life support having a certain meter that it can spawn away from you? You guys can lock that in, and she actually liked the idea. Now, the thing is, when I look at these things, people, I also asked her about Onslaught. How do you feel about Onslaught? I told her I feel like the drain is too high. I was like, what else do you guys think that you guys can fix about Onslaught? Because you feel like the player doesn't feel like they should go past Wave 8, Zone 8, I should say. And it really pulls away from a lot of team composition from when you go in regularly. And she said they don't have no plans for that. I was like, oh, shoot. All right. No plans. All right. No plans. No plans in the future. All right, cool. I respect that. But I also asked her about the survival rework. Why not have bosses, your Sergeant Rusk, your Vors? Vor's already in there. But why does Vor have to spawn between 1 minute and 15 minutes? Why not have him spawn 20? Spawn again at 40. Why not have Sergeant Rusk or different people invade the void, come through the portal while you're doing your survival? One thing I did tell her is that let's say you have a Sergeant Rusk or a different boss that comes in. That boss should not affect life support. Life support should completely stop until you deal with that boss and you kill the remaining enemies that surround that boss, because that is now your boss battle. I said one thing with Warframe is that it goes in a lot of the directions with how you have relics and you guys have the portals and different things spawning in to how Diablo is with their dungeons and their rifts. So I said you have a lot of these things. Why not incorporate it the same exact way? Because the mechanics that you guys are using are already in the game. And she was thinking about that. She was like, well, we try to incorporate our bosses. That's why we bring Lephantis to PoE. And I said, that was good. but then you guys stayed on ghouls for far too long. And she said, we feel like we should incorporate those events a lot more frequently. And I was like, yes, Rebecca, yes, we really need to keep those going. But I did tell her for Fortuna and PoE, those things will always fail. I told her it's a beautiful, I said PoE is one of the, I mean, not PoE, but Fortuna is one of the most beautiful updates that they've ever dropped. It looks fantastic. I also told her that the Fortuna map is freaking huge. And I said the problem that I'm feeling with that is that if you have a Fortuna map that's that huge, the problem comes with it feeling empty. She said, oh, don't worry about that. We got a lot of things coming up to actually fill up the Fortuna map coming up in 2019, which made me actually excited again. All I want to know is that you guys have ideas to actually implement these things instead of leaving them alone. The problem that I have with Warframe at times is leaving things alone to where it's at and never going back. I told her the game is amazing. Warframe is fantastic. Warframe don't have to follow any kind of rules. I said Warframe is a game that could be around as long as WoW, as long as you guys do it correctly and implement certain things. You got to have the difficulty there for all different type of players. You see what I'm saying? A lot of different things you have to elaborate on and make it a lot better. I said I'll be okay if you guys took a good 3 to 5 months off to fix these things, but you have to make community announcement to let us know what's in the works for being fixed. And once these things drop, they feel like newer things, you know what I mean? So you guys let me know how you feel about that, how you guys feel in the comment section. I asked her, I said, Reb, now, you know, the community was feeling a little salty about, you know, the Mesa Prime all helmet. How do you feel about the all helmet? Would you guys bring back all helmets for different Warframes? She said, yeah, we're gonna do it. We might bring it back. It depends on the Warframe, but all helmets will be a thing. So I was like, oh, interesting, you know? So it's a good thing. I feel like, you know, with Onslaught, I definitely feel like Onslaught needs to be changed and looked at again, which is some core mechanics that you guys are looking for in the game. Now, one thing I will say, I'm so glad I stuck to my guns of, you know, me speaking from a point that I felt like was completely correct and, you know, other people agreeing with me, because I feel like you got to critique the game correctly. And I feel like I never attacked the game and I never, you know, put the game in a negative light. If it has issues, I'm talking about those issues. And the fact that the devs agree with the way how I critique the game and they feel like I give them, you know, the critique that they need and the things to learn from, that made my day. So I feel like that was good. I was like, I'm cool with that. I was like, thank you guys very, very much, you know. But you guys let me know what you guys think about this stuff in the comment section. What else do you guys want to see change? This is why I always tell you guys to speak up, talk to me with the problems that you guys see in the game, because I'm going to try to go out my way to talk to them directly instead of writing a message. I want them to actually hear what is the problem in the game and what is it that we can do to make this game better, because we want the game to grow. You know, if you guys see me play other games or different things like that, I honestly told Rebecca, now this is the thing. I told Rebecca, I said, Rebecca, I'm going to be honest with you. She said, yes, Rio. I said, okay, here's the thing. I don't feel like I have a place in Warframe. And she said, wait, what do you mean? I said, I don't feel like I belong in this game. I don't feel like I have a place, because the thing for me is there's nothing for me to do. And the thing for me is with having nothing to do and no challenge, and the Warframes are so powerful and everything is so powerful that there's no challenge out there to meet these expectations that we have of testing these weapons. And that's why we go so far into long runs. I said the game is pushed for players to stay at 20 minutes. Every single nerf that's implemented in the game does not affect any players that go 20 minutes. You know, these are things that just only affect the higher level players that are doing endurance runs and things like that. Those are what it nerfs. It does not hurt the base casual community ever. Doesn't matter what nerf is implemented. And I said, I don't feel like I have a point here because there's nothing for me to do. You guys implement and try to do the 20-minute runs. And she said, Rio, you always have a place here. We love you. This is why I took the conversation with you. I feel like you're a great addition to Warframe and you always speak the truth and do well. And one thing we want to do is try to credit you players, especially for people who would want to push the narrative to go in further. And you know, it was just good hearing that they actually want to, you know, make the push. But as honestly, you guys know I'm not no simp. Y'all know I don't be simping like that. So we got to see it being implemented. You know, you're telling me one thing, because I told Warframe, I said the reason why I critique you guys the way I do is because I put you guys on a pedestal. right? Now she started laughing. She was like, ha, ha, ha. So that's not how she laughed, but yo, you know, whatever. So I told her, I was like, yo, I put you guys on a pedestal, kind of like in a relationship when you put somebody on a pedestal. And when you guys don't do great and you don't do well enough, I'll be like, yo, you cheating, Rebecca. Y'all are cheating on me right now. She was like, we'll never cheat on you, Rio. But that's how it went. It was actually funny. It was a good conversation to where we talked about important topics, especially when I see them actually implementing ways for the reward system with the new community feedback that they're going for. So whenever you guys have ideas, always go to the forums, talk about these things. Doesn't matter what's going on or what people say. I want this game to be better. Just because you don't understand my approach of it doesn't mean I'm hating. You guys feel me? So as always, thank you guys so much for the love. I'll catch you guys later on the next Warframe video. I'll have a lot of different videos coming up as well. So you guys are dope. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, guys, so here's the thing. Quick story time. So listen, I'm driving with my friend. We stopped at the gas station. He asked me for $5. He spent $3. So we're driving. We hit the tollway. I asked him, I'm like, yo, bro, let me borrow $1. He said, I'm broke. I said, what? Math, bro. Where did it go?